Well, good morning, class. I hope you're doing well. My name is Dr. Michael Pardue, your professor for Lead 505. I've decided to do this week's announcements via video. Blackboard has a new feature that allows us to communicate using YouTube, and so we're utilizing that this week for our announcements. I hope things are going well. We are to week 7, and the class is just about over. I hope that you are preparing for the final assignments. A lot of our class is here on the back end, and so hope you are taking the extra time to get those things ready, as they'll be due in the next few days. But the class will be over, grades will be in, and you'll be moving on to another term here at Liberty University. I hope that you are doing well. I hope that you survived if you've been a part of the bad weather that's been going on. And so we're going to start off this week, as we do every week, with our devotion, and then we'll move on into our assignments. I'll draw your attention to Matthew 28, which is known as the Great Commission. This is something that we have been studying so far as we went through our devotions each week, and I hope that you've been keeping up with those. We find ourselves this morning in verse 20, and Jesus says to his disciples, after he has commissioned them, he's telling them to go. He's telling them to go to all nations and to baptize them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. And he tells them here to teach them to observe all that I have commanded you. Teaching is obviously very important for us here in our academic setting. And Jesus tells his disciples that as they make new disciples, they will have the responsibility to teach them to observe everything that he had commanded. Jesus commanded a lot of things. Jesus told them a lot of things during his ministry, and his disciples were going to be responsible for passing that information on to future generations. We, as Christian leaders, and I assume you understand you to be a Christian leader here as you're studying at Liberty University and preparing for ministry, we need to desire that those who come to Christ would grow in their relationship with him. Too often, people stay in the infancy of their faith and they never grow into mature believers. As Christian leaders, we should desire that they would grow, that they would know more about Christ, that they would know more about what he has done, that they would know about his desires for their life. For me personally, my philosophy of church administration would dictate that a church is not being administered properly if it does not have a plan on how to disciple Christians. How to help new Christians grow, and Christians who have been in the faith for a long time to grow in their faith. And so we need to think about that, even in the realm of church administration. How do we disciple people and help them grow in their faith? Jesus gives this as part of his command. He could have said any number of things here, but he includes the responsibility to teach new believers how to observe all that Christ had commanded. And so I hope you'll take that to heart and understand that as an important part of your role as a Christian leader in your church or whatever context you find yourself in. Let's move on to our assignments for this week. You have one reading assignment this week. It's from Welch, chapters 9 and 10. You need to read those two chapters as the week goes along. There's also 5 presentations that you should watch on risk management. I think these are going to be very informative, and I think you'll find that they'll help you in your current ministry context. Then you're going to have a discussion board. For this discussion board, you're going to need to take your readings from Melton and Welch and recommend a program for educating a congregation regarding sexual abuse in churches. Imagine, as part of the discussion board, that you find yourself in a church meeting where a vocal group opposes such a plan. I want to tell you this is a real case that you could find yourself in your ministry. This is a very important thing in considering how to guard against sexual abuse, but there are often people who do not believe this plan is necessary and do not believe this type of thing could happen in your church or their church. And so you want to respond to this and be very specific as you defend your position. Your initial thread, as always, is going to be due on Thursday at 11:59, and your reply needs to be in by Sunday also at 11:59 p.m., and those times, as always, are Eastern Standard Times. Now, For your assignment this week, based on your reading from Welch and from Milton, you're going to write a 4 to 5 page paper in which you do a couple of things. First, you're going to assess the level of risk preparedness in your current ministry situation and in your church. You're going to then propose a plan to address and limit your risk exposure. This paper should have 3 to 5 references or academic sources that you use to support your arguments. You don't want to have a paper that's filled with your opinions, but rather you want to use these references and sources to support why you said the things that you're saying in your paper. There's not a specific number of citations that you should have in your paper, but you should interact with all 3 to 5 of these sources throughout the paper to show that you really did good and thorough research. Of course, this paper is due at 11:59 p.m. on Sunday. I hope that using this video is something that will be helpful for you and something that will get your week started off well. I hope you do good work this week. As I look at your grades, you're doing very well. I can see that you've put in a lot of effort, and I can also see that your work has improved as we went through the class. And that's one of the things I really desire for you, is that as you're growing academically, as you're trying to pursue more and a better education, that you continue to improve in your writing. Writing is one of the great areas that we can tell where academic progress is being made, and I'm excited to see how you're improving, you're interacting more with your sources, and you're really coming up with good ideas and solutions for your churches. I hope that by the end of this class, you're going to be able to take them and put them into practice, and God is going to bless your churches through your efforts. If you have questions, as always, please feel free to contact me. You can email me or call if you have a question, and I'll try to answer those and keep you moving right along. We're almost to the end of our term. It's been a good class. I'm excited about what God is doing in each of your lives, and I just pray that He gets you on through this class. You finish well. Your grades are where you want them to be, and you can use this information for further work in your church. If you have questions, don't hesitate to contact me, and I hope the Lord will bless you today.